Damn, it's good to be back. The wait is over. The arena roars once more, and the legends return to the field.
Oh my god, there's no way.
So huge!
The best are already sharpening their skills, and the rivalries are burning hotter than ever.
Oh my goodness, what was
Wow! Every play, every push, a chance to carve your name in history. Somebody stop this man!
Oh, that's awesome!
And she drops onto Kiri. It's a one clip to finish the kill. And that's two from Kowsers.
This is where stories are written, where every legend leaves their mark.
And the body block. Able to get two.
Oh, that's a fine, man. What a grab!
And then Cruiser's out. He gets three.
With history on the line, do you have what it takes to emerge victorious? Welcome to United Rogue Overwatch Season 9. Fuck, was I recording? I forgot we added the fuck I'm recording bit. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is time. We are here at the end of the road for Season 9. We've got 3 grand finals to talk about, but we also got some important awards to hand out. I'm, of course, Ajax/Soupcan, and with me I have grabbed the absolute epitome of play, the Venture Rock Muncher himself, Bowser. I'm kind of excited for these finals, I'll be honest.
Dude, there's a lot of good storylines. There's a lot of exciting matchups. I'm really looking forward to some of these finals.
It's going to be a good time, especially because we get to see a lot of like newer teams that we haven't really seen in finals in a little bit, which we can talk about to start with Emerald, right? War, first time getting back into a final since Season 6, where they took the dub in Ruby, now finding themselves as the 4th seed in our Emerald finals, but they got to go against a tough opponent in Phoenix. The first time that this franchise has blessed us with his presence, led by Dill, locking in the 3rd seed and also making it to finals. You have experience playing against a lot of these players, so just on face value, what do you think of these two teams, Bowser?
I'm excited to see the tank matchup. I want to see how Dill can handle a formidable squad in war. You know, see what he does against a really strong roster. Does his Orisa hold up? Obviously, we know is it Cranium, right, on Phoenix is absolutely insane.
Correct.
I subbed for them one time, and it was Cranium did everything, and then I tried to not feed my brains out. I fed a little too much, and we lost. But he made it close just because he's so good. So, really looking forward to that. I don't know a whole lot about War, but I know that they retooled their roster, and they've just come out like
they've been on fire. I mean, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. You look at War, and they had a bit of a rocky season at the start. Had a roster. Moto in Moto fashion can't draft a team that stays together. A lot of their players had to leave or move or trade or this or that. But the final roster that they have and settled with has looked strong. I know they've been scrimming a lot as well. And I love seeing a good, healthy mix of new players and some veterans in there, right? Guna has been here for a while. Big Green been here for a while. But then you get to see some new people like Archangels. You get to see Soup. The 3rd addition to the Soup roster in Overwatch.
There's so many.
Oh my god. I'm happy to say I am the OG, so I get that title. But no, I've really liked how Washington has stepped up, especially if you go back to their game against the #1 seeded team in New England. I mean, I thought at the very beginning of the season, looking at that roster, that team was going to win it all, and Washington came out swinging with a 3-0. So it's going to be a very interesting battle between a lot of these players. If you are looking at Phoenix, I know you're kind of talking about Cranium as that big difference maker, but is there somebody else maybe you think is going to have to step up or going to have to also help maybe be that difference maker?
I think their backline needs to really show up, because Dill will, I guess, feed his brains out, so to speak. occasionally. So if Dill can get bailed out, more often than not, with good support gameplay, then I think they're going to be a really tough squad to beat. I know Anand is a really, really solid support. So if they show up and show out, then I think Phoenix will be a tough matchup for War.
I would love to see that game go in the distance. Obviously, we always want our grand finals going the distance, going to the 7 maps. Last season, season 8, I know our Sapphire finals made it to 7 maps. I believe our Emerald map. Yeah, Emerald also made it there as well. So we would love to try to see all 3 get some great finals. But it is going to be a tough battle because Washington look so scary. Phoenix have been looking very consistent as well. I am very curious. Let's talk about some predictions. Let's talk about what we think is going to go down in our finals here. And I kind of want to start with you, Bowser. Just because I'm so generous as a host. I don't want to go first.
Oh, yeah.
I want you to take the reins.
Great, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Keep telling me that. Yes, feed my ego. That's
for
what I
sure,
need.
great. You're so great.
Thank you. I'm so good.
Moving on. What were we talking about? Prediction.
Predictions.
So I have some intel that War
I have
will
the same
probably.
intel.
Hey, nice.
Nice.
That War will be playing a human down, and they will be playing with a sub. I don't want to leak who is subbing, what role, or anything like that. But just not having their top roster is kind of scary, going into a grand finals, not playing at full strength. I think they will be able to compete, but at the end of the day, Phoenix should be at their with their top roster. So I got Phoenix winning 4-2. However, I could see War pull off an upset depending on how their sub is able to gel with the rest of the War roster.
See, I don't hate that prediction. I think that we have seen Phoenix really step up their game. I really have liked watching Dill. We knew him back in season 5 when we made that insane pit roster. Dill has jumped around to every role. He played support with us. He went over to DPS for a little bit on Montreal. And now he's taking up the tank role on Phoenix. But when I'm looking at these rosters, I agree. Having a sub and not your optimal, roster, definitely not something that you want to go into finals with. You're going to have to make do. That's fine. The player they picked up, I think, can suit them well. I think it's going to take a map for them to try to, figure out. And they have time. The game's on Sunday. They got a couple of days. They have time to try to get some reps in. But I think it's going to take a map for them to figure out what kind of play style they want, what kind of game that they want to run. And then after that, I think War will just be lights out. So I'm going with a 4-1 in favor of Washington.
Really? Wow.
Yes. I am very high on this resurgence of the Washington Rebellion in Emerald. I have talked about it a lot. Obviously not necessarily on stream as much, but I'm a big fan of this sleeper roster, as I'm going to call it. Especially, you're looking at the 4 and 3 seeds going into finals. Like,
that
that's
is
awesome.
Crazy. Yeah, you really love to see that. There's some walking giants with Nev in Chicago. They looked really strong throughout the regular season, and then Ward, really came on later in the season, and Phoenix has always been hanging around. So you really love to see how competitive Emerald can be, even though they were sweeps, which is crazy that they're both upsets and sweeps. But really, really glad to see, at least from an LO perspective, that it's competitive, top to quote unquote near the bottom with the 4 seed. So really excited how that's played out.
Especially with a lot of these players, because if you look at the rosters, Washington had a good healthy mix of some of the veterans, some of the rookies. Phoenix, for the most part, mainly rookies. You have Dill and you have Bio, who both have played at least one season before. But the rest of that roster, a lot of rookies coming in. And some of those members, some of those rookies might have even gotten some role stars. So now that we've gotten predictions out of the way, let's talk about Emerald as an entire league. Let's talk about some all-stars and some MVPs. And let's talk about Team 1. Let's go take a look at the entirety of Emerald, there were some heavy hitting players this season, but I think there was one tank pickup that really did help shape the roster and help them get that far. I'm curious, do you have a guess, even though I definitely sent you the entire list of players?
Whoever that I don't know is the Team 1 tank is, I don't think they should be that. They're just terrible. They feed. There's 5 better tanks in the league. I don't get it. Might be a fan vote. They've never been accused of being a fan vote for anything else in terms of awards. It could be anyone.
It could be anyone, but with that cryptic hint, let's take a look. Who is your Team 1 Emerald tank? It is Dill, the man, the myth, the legend, our Season 7 Emerald MVP, stepping up big. And again, like, this is the first time we've seen Dill really step up on the tank role. You know, we've played with him a lot, and I think you can see that over these several seasons he's joined and he's played, he's been able to really elevate that gameplay. So taking the step into tank and helping that roster around him kind of play up, I love to see it.
Yeah, you love to see Dill get an award, even if it's not deserved. But you know, I kid a lot. He has played really, really well on tank. His team has really enabled him to really perform at a high level in terms of Emerald gameplay. So, really happy for Dill. Love that guy. Shout out the horse.
Shout out the horse and the ram. But it's not just a tank game. It is also the DPS that have stepped up this season, and there are definitely two that come to my mind. We've mentioned one earlier that I think we'll get to see here in a second, but in my mind, there's two big names that have come up for this DPS role star. So let's take a look at who's going to be Team 1, Player 1 for DPS. It is going to be Cranium.
Absolutely insane player. Like I said, I mentioned earlier, when I played with him, just an absolute difference maker on the field, on the map, whatever the word is. He's
a custom game.
Insane at DPS. It's actually kind of crazy how good Emerald players have gotten, because I'm quote unquote an Emerald player. Then I'll look at this guy and it's night and day. It's crazy.
There's a big gap in that skill range between you and Cranium. Let's be real. But Cranium, well deserved. Like you said, just a great player all around. There's another DPS player. Oh, really? That's something that I wish we could talk about more, is that a lot of times when we talk about these all-stars, we don't necessarily have the most insight into how their comms are. But with this next player, again, another player that we've played with a lot, has gotten some good recognition throughout the seasons. And when we play with him, he loves taking that competitiveness to the next level. We love seeing him step up and say, all right, hey, listen, this is the fight plan. Let's go in. And I think he does a good job of it. Clearly he does, considering he is on this Team 1. Let's go ahead and say hello to Team 1's second DPS, who is going to be Zeke, hanging out in Sapphire last season in the finals, now getting his deserved role star for not Phoenix, should be New England. Cool messed up. Let's go.
Shout out cool. But yeah, obviously I know Zeke very well. IRL and in game, just really competitive player. Played really well in Sapphire last season. So with him dropping down to Emerald, I was not shocked when he started farming the whole league. His Freya is insane. His Reaper is insane. A lot of flexibility there. So really happy for him as well. Just a great player, great guy.
Yeah, that New England roster was very scary, especially when you get to see, just who's on that lineup. When we saw Zeke getting drafted by Doge onto that roster, you knew those two were going to go far, and they made a hell of a run for that season. But we've got the take 2 for Zeke with the correct team. Got the New England logo there.
Shout out.
But again, that New England roster was scary. I mean, they had a lot of good players, but it felt like Zeke, again, in comms, really understood, hey, this is the fight plan. We need to exploit their weaknesses here. That, X person is overextended. why person is in bad positioning. Let's take advantage of it. And it really did feel just the confidence in that team. But speaking of New England, we are now in the supports for Emerald. And this is another player that we both know pretty well. I, in fact, just talked to him about his Juno gameplay and how absolutely terrible it is. So thank God he can stick to other characters.
There are more than one.
Yeah, you're right. There are more than one because his other supports are way better. Let's take a look at Doge on the support.
Yeah, just another really great player. I'm happy to see Doge getting a role star because I think what makes Doge so valuable and great as a player is his flexibility role to role. And sometimes that can get hidden, on a role specific role star type award. So really happy to see him at least get something, and being a team one is definitely something. So really glad for him as well.
Yeah, I mean, you said he's got great flexibility. Most people, I think, would identify him for his tank gameplay. And Emerald usually season after season does great work. This is his second, Emerald support role star. So maybe he should find a new calling. Maybe he's got to slip a little bit back into the support grind. But there is another support player on this team, the last Team 1 player for our Emerald All-Stars. Another veteran that's been around for a while. She is great at a lot of characters, but I think there's one that everybody's going to know her for. Let's get to see who joins this Team 1 roster, and it is going to be Guna. Got the champions.
Shout out the Life Weaver specialist. Another great player, always great vibes, always, never down on their team. So really happy to see her get a role star, see her in the grand finals, and hope we get to see a couple nasty grips in grand finals.
Could be really cool, but that is going to be our Team 1 for Emerald. There are still 5 other players that did tremendous throughout this season that we got to talk about. And again, we're going to be saying a couple of teams here, but I think there's another team that had a tank that really just stood up above the rest. Recently in one of their matches, went a combined 54-0, 58-0.
I was there with that.
Across 3 maps. Just never died and got like 50, 60 kills. Let's take a look at who this tank player is. It's gonna be Chris with a K. Coming back after a long pause, by the way. Won Season 4, got the role star there, took a little bit of a break, but came back and just started taking names.
Yeah, really happy to see Chris back in the league. Just not a lot of true tank players, and with Chris back in the league, I think it just adds another layer of competitiveness for all the other teams. You get to point to see, who are other tanks we have to compete with. Chris is one of them, and he's great guy. And when I played with him, when I subbed for New England, he went crazy. So no shocker seeing him getting a role star here.
Yeah, definitely deserved. Just a great player all around. Would love to see him continue into next season, which is going to be the big 1-0, the big season 10 coming up. But before that season, of course, we still have some more players. And this next player, a rookie, who I think really just I didn't put them on my radar until I started watching back some of the games. Really big difference maker and a really good second DPS on the team. Let's go ahead and take a look at your Team 2 DPS. It's gonna be Sebastian from New England.
Yeah, just another great player. Don't know a whole lot about them, but whenever I would watch New England, obviously Zeke's like the guy on DPS, but then watching some of the gameplay, it's like, well, let's hang on. This Sebastian human is pretty nice at the game too, so no shocker seeing them here.
It felt like if Zeke was ever having a hard matchup on that roster, you could trust Sebastian to step up. A lot of our Emerald players have that capability to say, hey, listen, you take the resources, you take the pockets, I can get some stuff done on my own. And that really did felt like the sentiment for New England. Zeke would be heavy resource, but heavy picks. Sebastian, just a quiet lurker, especially on the Genji, really did a lot. So no surprise there. But we do have one more DPS, someone that we both know has done some great things in the past.
Go.
What a great guy. Let's take a look to see who is going to be joining that roster. Chicago's own Quaza.
Dude, I love playing with Quaza. He is always just such a great time to be around, and also just pretty good at the game too. Shocker, being Team 2 role star on DPS. Really fun guy to be around. Really good player. Really happy to see him get a role star.
Yeah, we talk about Chicago, the number 2 team in Emerald all season, really stepping up. And you can look a lot of the players. You can look at Banger. You can look at Tracer. 2 players that you would kind of expect to step up in that role. But Quaza, again, just felt like the sneaky pick that you weren't really expecting to absolutely go lights out in a lot of their matches. But DPS are nothing without the supports. And we've got 2 left. Again, we're going to go back to a team that I think a lot of people are familiar with, and another name that I hope a lot of people are familiar with. Made it to finals last season, unfortunately couldn't get the mark, but let's go ahead and talk about your first support all-star on Team 2 for Emerald. It's going to be the Nev.
Nev, shout out. You mentioned that the team, New England's getting a lot of role stars. Crazy they're not in grand finals. I digress. No, I love a lot of those guys, so they'll take it in stride. But Nevro being the Moira specialist, really solid support. Glad to see him here.
And it's great to see that synergy. I mean, you put Zeke and Never on a team, those boys will do wonders for you.
It doesn't matter if it's Overwatch or Rocket League. He's better than me at both games. It's crazy. I hate it.
Sensing some jealousy there, unfortunately.
Nah, definitely not.
But Nev did a great job on the support. There's one more player that we do need to talk about, and another rookie getting an all-star. You had mentioned them earlier. Let's take a look at who our final all-star is for Emerald Season 9. It is going to be another Moira in Annan.
Yeah, Annan, another great player. Not as much of a specialist as Nevro, but pretty flexible support player. Really solid on the Phoenix roster. And like I mentioned earlier, I expect them to play very well in this grand finals and potentially going to be a difference maker on the back line for them.
So for those who are just joining us, the first team Emerald All-Stars are going to be Dill as your tank, Cranium and Zeke DPS, Doge and Guna on support. Your second team is going to be Chris with a K on tank, Sebastian and Quaza DPS, and Nevro Annan on the support. But there is one more Emerald award that we have to give out before we go on to the Sapphire finals.
Sub of the season?
No sub of the season. Nope, you're not getting that. We did not make that a thing. Absolutely.
I wanted my own special award. No.
You had the 0 damage Sombra award, buddy. Good try.
Yippee!
Oh my god. But we do have the MVP, most valuable player, and we've already talked about this person, obviously. I think when we saw the pickup, we knew the damage that this player was going to do, and they did not disappoint. Absolutely destroying rosters with the team around them. But when you think of MVP, I personally think of one player. Let's go ahead and see who is going to be your Season 9 Emerald MVP. Let's take it back to Zeke. Absolutely deserved.
No, Zeke. Yeah, like I said earlier, great guy, great player. No shocker, someone that played in Sapphire last season, played well, dropping back down to Emerald with the rank changes and just absolutely popping off. No shocker there. Shout out to Zeke.
I will say it was a close race between Zeke and Cranium. About 24% of the votes to 18%. But Zeke definitely did wonders on that roster. But that is going to be it for Emerald. Let's take a step up and go see Sapphire, where we've got a franchise that you and I are both very familiar with.
Louisville?
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that one. Yeah, that's the one I was talking about, not the other one that you used to own.
Uh-huh. Oh, Pitt. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
they exist. Okay. Yeah, sure, whatever.
Yep, they definitely exist. All right. Well, let's talk about some rosters real quick, because you're right. It's Louisville, the number 1 seed, versus the number 2 seed in Pittsburgh. A little bit of a difference from what we saw in Sapphire, or sorry, Emerald. Emerald, we have the 3 and 4 seed. Sapphire, we got the 1 and 2 seed. But both of these teams, you knew from the beginning, they were going to go far. I mean, I look at the Louisville roster. Rico, from last season, getting his Louisville squad to win Ruby, is now looking to win out again here in Sapphire. It's just so good to see some of these veteran players. We've got Smooth, we've got JS,
Smooth.
Dante comes back. We love to see Buns. Tempo is a rookie, is there. Nobody else is on that roster. It's just 5 people. Surely there's nobody else. I'm not forgetting anybody.
Yeah,
but Cool also
roster,
gets
right?
in there. But no, I mean, that roster is crazy. I genuinely think that we have seen this roster just continue to step up and step up. Dante fan, probably my pick of just looking at this roster and going, some question marks at the start. Did great work Louisville last season on the support, but on the tank role, the Doomfist has been nutty, like absolutely insane. But let's take it over to Pitt. They've got some good picks as well. They scrim. I swear to God, every time I go to play games with buddies, I see the Pitt roster in there playing together. They are just running it down. When you look at these two rosters, specifically Pitt, because again, our previous history with Pitt, who were you looking at specifically for that team to take that step up?
For Pitt, I think it's got to be Ratman stepping up and really winning that tank 1v1 matchup. I think they got to be the biggest difference maker because Louisville has a lot of game changers on DPS with Smooth and support with JS. So I think Pitt, they really need the tank to win their matchup for them to have a chance. And honestly, I think they have a good shot of doing that. So I'm really excited to see this matchup. Just the 1-2 seeds, the super heavyweight bout going back and forth. Really excited for this matchup.
I really like how the tanks are going to have to play each other. Again, we talked about Dante on the Doom and how well they have been, but Ratman has been playing a lot of Ramatra, and so taking a look at how those two teams really play, it's going to be an interesting style and clash. I think for this one specifically, you can say this about any finals, but I think Sapphire specifically, the bans are going to matter a lot.
Yes.
Especially when you start looking at the rest of the rosters, the Lucio battles between them. You get to look at, Tempo and Hoagie. You get to really start looking at some of these other players. I mean, I really got to give a big shout out to Narcus. Really am not going to say the rest of that name because I don't know how to pronounce it. But just a great DPS player when you get to pair it against Smooth, who we've seen time and time again just run teams down. I'm very excited to see these two teams clash up against each other.
Yeah, you mentioned the DPS matchup. I think Smooth having some of that veteran leadership in Ruby can really help. And just a really good DPS player, but may lead to some question marks playing up against, another really good team. He's never had to be the guy on his team for grand finals. Always playing in Ruby, getting stuck in Rico jail up there.
Well, let's not forget Smooth with Laggy won Emerald. That was that crazy Ottawa team where it was the insane dive. It had Laggy, Smooth. Was it Chris or was it?
It was Chris and oh god, who was it? I think Bearbutt played that season too.
Yeah, because they had Kamani and Biscuit as the as the supports. But what a stacked roster. So Smooth, you're right. Has been for a little bit now, playing a little bit up, but the veteran leadership is still there. He knows what needs to get done, can help the team around him. But let's not also forget Buns, a great backup in terms of if you need another DPS player to step up, if you need him to come into the tank. We saw it actually in Louisville's game against Vancouver recently. They had a little bit of that changeup. I believe I saw Dante playing some DPS for a little bit, where it's interesting to see how flexible this Louisville roster is that was set up by Rico versus Pitt. Stick to their bread and butter. They know what's good. Let's talk about some predictions. I love both of these teams. These are great. I would love to see Louisville go back to back. Obviously, different leagues. I would love to see Pitt kind of return. You know, they haven't made a finals since season 3 when we won it. It's really just, you were on the team, surely, as evident by your, caster image.
Yes, I was there. I existed.
But like when we talk about these two teams, you mentioned storylines earlier. It's just the current could go back-to-back franchise versus the first franchise to go back-to-back. I'm interested to see where you're going with your prediction.
So one thing that I will say about Pitt that I think could put them over the top is with them scrimming so much, they know exactly what counters them, what doesn't do well into them, what do they need to succeed. However, with Smooth and Bonds on the DPS line, like that is a scary leadership on the DPS grind. No Cool's obviously not playing. But I think Louisville in the end will take this just because Smooth is such a great DPS. I hate to harp on one specific player because there's so many good ones on both teams, but Smooth and Rico's Basement only playing ranked 24/7. Incredible player. I think Louisville will take it, but I think it's going to be a 4-3 Louisville. It's going to be a really close game, and it's going to come down to who's got a little more flexibility when it comes to some of those later bands who can really out chess match the other team. And I think with Smooth and Buns, really talking about some of those bands, that it'll come down to something as trivial as just band picks, on a map 7.
So you're saying Louisville 4-3 or 4-2?
4-3. It's going to.
So you think it's going the distance?
I am pretty confident it's going at least 6. And if there was DraftKings for UR Overwatch, I would bet that this series is going to 7.
Yeah, I mean, you keep mentioning Smooth, a player that we know specifically for a lot of the hit scan, has recently picked up the Vendetta and has terrorized some of these teams. But I do want to talk about Pitt for a little bit. I mean, you have a lot of strength in that roster. We mentioned Narcus a little bit. We mentioned Ratman. The other DPS, they have Forgetful. They have Gold that they swap in and out when needed. I think that roster is really good, and I do agree it's going to go to 7. But I am just looking at these two rosters, and I think going back throughout the season, looking at the gameplay, I have to agree. I also am going to say Louisville take this in a 4-3. This is going to go the distance. Thanks. I actually texted Cool my predictions before you did, so how about that?
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we'll pull up timestamps. But I don't want to diss this Pitt roster. I think Piper did an amazing job building up what is clearly, one of the two best teams. We will have to see. This will take place not necessarily next week, but the next 2 weeks, which, I think something that we didn't really consider. There's going to be a big update on Tuesday coming out on the 10th.
Oh, geez.
Couple new characters. As a reminder, none of those new characters will be playable in finals. We have the rule in the rule book. I don't know if it's off the top of my head, and I apologize. It's like 2.3. No Jetpack Cat can terrorize the lobbies. But what will be playable is all the sub roles. When you look at Ratman on the Ramatra, new tank passive, its stuns and like boops and crowd control are all lowered by 40% versus Dante. Unless it happens Monday. But Dante on the Doom, again, just a signature hero for them. Their sub role is kind of ass in my opinion. You get like 50 healing a second while you're in the air. I just don't think it's as good comparatively. Some of the other sub roles are going to matter a lot, I will say, but we've talked about a couple of names. Let's talk about some of the most important names this season. That's right, it's time for your Sapphire All-Stars, in which we are going to start with Team 1. And starting off with Tank, gonna be a name that we've talked about a lot already. Let's go ahead and take a look at who will be your Sapphire All-Star first team Tank. And it will be none other than Dante Fan.
Let's go. Yeah, that Doom,
insane player.
Yeah, that Doom goes crazy in Sapphire. So really happy to see them get a first team role star. Incredible Tank. Really excited to see how they perform in grand finals.
And we mentioned, the veterancy of some of these other players. Dante won in the hardest league we have last season, playing with some of the greats, playing with Minky, playing with Blue Jay. Again, another Rico roster that was just built, it felt like to perfection. But Dante has that grand finals presence, has that understanding, along with a lot of these players, like Cool, like Smooth. It's going to be interesting to see how they can help their team succeed. But a deserved Tank. Let's now talk about the DPS. We've got a couple of heavy hitters there, some names that we might have already said. Not gonna lie.
No spoilers, bro.
Oh, well, they're gonna see it here in a second. Let's take a look. Who is our Team 1 DPS 1? It's gonna be a name that we have mentioned in Smooth, locked in Rico's basement.
Yeah, just perma locked in the basement, only playing ranked. Sucks to be him, honestly. But hey, at least he's pretty good at Overwatch, I guess.
Oh my god, I forgot Smooth was on the Louisville roster for Ruby last season, so he is also the Season 8 Ruby champion. Which, again, we didn't talk about a whole lot. That's another reason why I think this team has been doing so well. You have that pre-existing synergy. Smooth would get in with Dante, they would play a couple times, but like having that energy already really shows what teams can do, which we'll talk about, more in stride later. But Smooth, just an insane DPS, season after season. Round 1 pick every time, I'm convinced.
Yeah, just a great player. Love Smooth. Always happy to see him performing well. Happy to see him, being the guy on his team, because he's always been stuck in Ruby jail thanks to Rico. So getting moved down to Sapphire and letting him really shine on the DPS is really happy to see for him.
One more thing I do want to mention before we go on to the next DPS All-Star is Smooth on Season 6. Another Rico built team, obviously. The Vancouver Wild making it to finals against the Avenger level squad that was War that season. Smooth was playing against Foliage and who was the other DPS? I'm having an absolute stroke. But like, regardless of who they were playing against, Smooth was holding his own. Like, you can go back to that finals. There was a couple internet issues here and there, but Smooth was doing a great job in that finals. But enough of Smooth. We've talked about him too much. I want to talk about this next player, this next rookie that got into the DPS All-Star. A player that has just started turning up from the moment we saw them in the lobby. Let's take a look at who is our Team 1 DPS number 2 for Sapphire Season 9. It is going to be Narcus.
Yeah, just another great player. We talked about it in the prediction, just this DPS matchup between Smooth and Narcus. So no shocker that they both get Team 1 recognition. So another great DPS. Really looking forward to the match and see who's the true number 1 on the Team 1 team.
Yeah, I mean, Narcus, along with the rest of Pitt, have played really well. But I think if you continue to look at their games, at their play style, if you need a pick, if you need something to go your way, you're going to look at Narcus. Just really big player. And I want to give a special shout out because I'm like 99% confident their Discord profile picture is Glaceon. Probably top 2 evolution. And I will stand on that.
Don't care. Still don't care.
Crazy. All right. Well, if you don't care about that, let's care about supports. We are going to go into the supports for our Sapphire team. And this is a player that's been here and there in the league. Trying to think if they've gotten an all-star before. I don't think they have.
I think
maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
They've been around, Ruby Sapphire a little bit.
Getting word no from our ear.
I know more ball than Bowser. Let's take a look at our Team 1 Sapphire support one. It is going to be JS Wessler.
Yeah, just a really solid support. Just really happy to see them finally getting a role star because they deserve one. Just the amount of time, in the league, surely at some point they would have gotten one. And the fact they have it is a little bit criminal. So happy to see them finally get some recognition.
Especially for JS. I mean, when you look at the two supports that they play, the first things I think are the Juno and, what we saw on screen, the Alari. I want to always talk about how, Juno is a very weird character just because I don't like playing them as a support main. But the ult is something that I think is insanely crucial, the timing of. And it felt like for a little bit, JS was using some ults here and there, maybe not the best timing, maybe not a little too forward. But you could see this season starting to absolutely nail it, get better and better. And then when they went over to the Alari, those ults, the hit scan potential, just great pop-off potential. What a great support. But there's another support on this roster, a rookie, in fact, who we have seen come up. And, they might not be in this grand finals, but they were a big reason their roster made it pretty far into playoffs. Let's take a look at our Sapphire support. Number 2, it is Typhoon from the Vancouver Wild. The Lucio gameplay was really helping that laggy tank. I'll be honest. The positioning was very important.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If you're ever teaming with laggy, you need your supports to play well. And the fact that they made semifinals with laggy, insane. So, shout out them. Don't really know too much about them, but, the fact they made it far with laggy really speaks to how good they are. So, glad that they were able to get some recognition. Even though they might not have made grand finals, but clearly a very good player.
They were one of the few Lucios in Sapphire. There's a big tank drought we have. There's a big Lucio drought, I think even more so. But being able to have not only a Lucio player but a confident one at that really can help elevate a team. So very much deserved from Typhoon. But we have an entire other team. That was Team 1. Let's talk about Team 2. And we're going to start it off with a tank who is going to have, a battle ahead of them in finals. Let's go ahead and take a look at your Team 2 tank all-star. It is going to be Ratman on pit. Just a very good tank that has played tremendously around their team, understands what tanking is about. Controlling the space, making sure your team has angles. Just a great player.
Yeah, great player. I watched one of their scrims recently, and really good shot caller, really good IGL. So really happy to see them get their role star because they are very deserving of it. Like I said, really good player, pretty good vibes guy as well. Something we don't talk about a whole lot, but it's very exciting to see the Team 1 versus Team 2 tank role stars going at it in grand final. So really excited for the matchup, like we've been mentioning all throughout these role stars and predictions. So really happy for them.
Well, we mentioned Team 1, Team 2 in finals. We're going to talk about a couple of players that maybe have missed that finals mark, but still made their mark this season. We've got one player who we're about to announce for DPS that I think it came into the league with a big energy, and you could see it in their gameplay. And honestly, there was a little bit of a meme surrounding them, but I think when you take a look at their hero pool, it got expanded to that. So let's take a look at who your Team 2 DPS 1 is. It's going to be Stealth, the quote-unquote Genji specialist for Chicago.
Yeah, really solid Genji player, obviously. They're a bit of a specialist when it comes to it. We don't use one trick around here, but they're a bit of a specialist. But I filled in for a scrum for them recently. That was hilarious, and he was vibing the whole time. So very solid player, and on top of that, just a really great chill player to play with, having a great time. Even though we lost, because like I'm an Emerald player, like who cares? But like it was a good time. So really happy to see them here.
Honestly, you mentioned the Genji, but they had a pretty flexible hero pool. Stealth was popping off on the Pharah a lot this season. Not a lot of hit scans could really stack up to that. But the Tracer here and there pulled it out, got a couple of the picks for that Chicago roster. Really felt like had the potential to play anything for whatever your team needed. So very much deserved. Stealth, rookie season, gets the All-Star. But we're going to talk about another rookie that I have been praising a lot to a lot of people all season. Just an insane player. I felt like, and this might be a hot take, was kind of carrying the team a little bit. Let's talk about our Team 2, DPS 2 on Sapphire Season 9. Let's go ahead and see who this could be. Who deserves my praise? It's going to be Damon from New England. Hit Scan Jesus 2.0, perhaps.
Oh, God. Dude, I checked in with New England a couple times on their Sapphire team, with the streams and whatnot. And every time I watched, Damon was just farming infinite. It was just incredible gameplay. Honestly, kind of surprised they didn't get a Team 1 shout here, but, just a crazy good hit scan player. So really happy that they at least get some recognition for that.
Yeah, the voting was close. Damon was, I think, only 2 votes off from Team 1. But like you said, just a crazy hit scan player. I remember distinctly the game that they needed to win against Chicago the last week of the season to help get them into playoffs. Yes. You just blue beam Damon against Chicago, and dude rolled. Obviously, the rest of the team was performing, but like the Cassidy is crazy. The other hit scan, the Ash here and there, nutty. I mean, he could just do it all, it felt like. So very much deserved from that player. But we got now support. We've got 2 more Sapphire All-Stars before we talk about the MVP. And we're going to talk about another rookie for this roster who, played with Damon, in fact. Teammate where, again, another just support player that understands the confidence you need to play with. And I thought they did tremendous all season. Let's go ahead and take a look at who is your Team 2 Support 1 for Sapphire Season 9. We're going to see Riptide coming out from New England.
Yeah, just another really, really incredible player. When I was checking out some of the streams with New England, if it wasn't Damon, popping off, they were popping off in the support department. So no shocker that they showed up here. Really good player. Happy to see them showing up on the Volstar.
Yeah, the Wu Yang definitely was what I think helped them kind of make their mark. Overwatch leaning into a bit more of support is not just heal. Support can be a little bit more of crowd control, a little bit more of the DPS, helping your team. The ult, fantastic. So giving that to a player who's very confident in their skills and capabilities, just you could see it immensely. But there's another player for support for Sapphire that has been around for a while. And honestly, like I can think back to a game where I played against them and we were winning until they joined the lobby, and you could see the difference this player made. Let's go ahead and take a look at who is our last Sapphire All-Star of Season 9. It is going to be Veritas. Back-to-back support role stars, by the way.
Yeah, just another phenomenal support player. Been around the league for a while. Definitely familiar with their gameplay. No shocker that they're here. Like I said, just a really solid player. So happy to see them here.
My favorite part about this graphic is it says Season 8 support role star, and then says Season 9 was when they joined, even though they were back since like Season 4, I think. So definitely got to update some of that in the back end, but whatever. Veritas, usually the Lucio or the Zen, I feel like. The Zen is the one pick that you could see him coming out on, and specifically the Tranks. Tranquility is just an ability for that guy. He just pops it off whenever he feels like it. It's the vibe ult, And then he just goes right back to Discord, clickhead. I don't care. That man is great at the game. I love it.
Yeah, the Zen is just incredible to watch, especially, starting to get to a higher level in Sapphire. So really, really happy to see Zen get their shine, through Veritas. So no shocker they showed up here.
Well, we've talked about the All-Stars. Your Team 1 is going to be Dante Tank, Smooth and Narcus on DPS, and JS Typhoon as your supports. Your Team 2 Sapphire All-Stars, Ratman is Tank, Stealth and Damon is the DPS, and Riptide and Veritas on support. We have one more Sapphire award to give out. It is the Season 9 Sapphire MVP. And we've talked, obviously, about their name, right? We talked about him a little bit. This is a player that I think joined the league, and from the moment they did, you could see the value they put out. An insane player who can play very well with a team, but if you need them to, they will step up. They will find the picks. It is a great time to see a rookie really step up into this league and show what they can do. Let's go ahead and see who is your Season 9 Sapphire MVP. It is going to be Narcus.
Yeah, no shocker. When Piper drafted this team, Narcus was one of the big question marks because they were a high draft pick, and you just don't. Sometimes you don't know what you're getting with a rookie. They might play well in trials, but you don't know how they're going to do. Throughout a full season, but they showed up and showed out this season. So, shout out to them. Well deserved. Great player.
Not to actually you, but to actually you. Narcos wasn't even in the initial draft. Piper had to grab them a little bit later. Yup, Piper had to grab them a little bit later due to some roster complications. But again, as soon as they joined that roster, you could see the damage they were putting out. I mean, the Freya specifically is what comes to mind. What an insane player. But that is it for Sapphire. We've got one more league, the biggest league. You and I both GM'd in Ruby.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about finals. And I'm going to try and stay as unbiased as possible because Havana is the #1 seed, but it's going to go up against a insane roster in Detroit. The, again, #1, #2 teams fighting it out in Ruby.
Yeah, this is just another heavyweight bout. When I was GMing, there was two teams that I was worried about whenever we played them, and it was these two teams. So the fact they showed up against each other in the finals, no surprise to me. Detroit, they got the God Squad on DPS, and then with Havana, just a really well cohesive unit. They're all very solid players, but what really speaks to them is how well they play around each other, because they know each other outside of UR, and it shows. It shows in their gameplay. Really good team. I'm excited for this matchup.
Yeah, to give a little bit of insight, because, for once we actually can, in the draft, going into the draft, I knew my #1 pick. I knew it needed to be Minky. I think a lot of times you need a solid tank, which both these teams have, a plethora of. You get to see Darkstar and Epic Shock on Detroit, trading time in and out. And then you get to see Minky hanging out on Havana. But I knew I wanted Minky, and I had a little bit of insider information to some of these new rookie players, along with some veterans in there, where I knew I could build around Minky. And like you said, build basically an existing roster of players that knew each other, had great synergy with each other. And, again, to not try to be super unbiased, but one of the best DPS lines is Detroit, right? Lemon and Vanguard have been lights out. Vanguard, usually the tank GOAT in Ruby, has swapped it over to become a top 500 DPS. And they're going to have to take it up with Foliage and Greek. Greek Avenger, I think, has been slept on. Everybody knows Foliage, a great player. But Greek, I think, has been slept on a lot so far this season. Really a player that can step up when you need it. And so this really comes down to Havana is a team of friendship. It's the power of friendship. Everybody plays so well together. You can't really pick one person who would step up and really punch above their weight. It's just a cohesive unit. Versus Detroit, there is so much firepower on that roster. It's going to be a great finals. Bowser, when you look at these two rosters, give me a player from each team that you're looking to just make that difference.
I think it's pretty simple. It's going to be the first round picks. It's straightforward. It's going to be Minky on tank. Can they diff Darkstar or Epic Shock? I think they will. But then can Lemon, come in and balance that out on the DPS line? So between having one of the best DPSs versus one of the best tanks, it's going to be really exciting. And that's not even including Vanguard, who's top 500 on DPS. So I'm really excited for this matchup.
It's going to be a good one, but let's get into some predictions. I think that going into this, I'm trying not to be biased, trying to whatever. But when I look at these two teams, this is going to be the third time that these two teams have to play each other. The first time, Detroit didn't have Darkstar. They were running the ball-only comps with Epic Shock. They looked good. They, took it to 4 maps, but Havana won. The second time these two teams fought, Havana had already locked up the first seed, so I was told we were playing a little silly, playing a little not serious, but Detroit did not care. They stepped up and showed out. So it's now a best of 3. Who's going to take it? My money is on my squad. I'm going with Havana, but I am going to say it's a 4-2 at minimum. I could very easily see this being a 4-3, but I got to believe in my team to get the damn thing done. So I am going to go with a 4-2 win in Havana's favor. Bowser, what are you thinking?
You make so many great points. I'm
full of great points.
Okay, well, hang on. There is a lot of really good players on both teams, right? You got Minky, you got Greek, you got Adbon on support, which is stupid.
Baffling.
Yeah,
baffling.
Stupid. Yeah.
Dude, Adbon on the Wu Yang is nutty.
It's crazy. It's just genuinely crazy. But even outside of that, you have Nezuyumi, who is one of the most fundamentally sound supports in the league. They don't do anything crazy, but they are always making the right play at the right time. And then you have Foliage for your other DPS, just really scary. But then looking at Detroit,
stole him from so many teams. That was so fun to steal him.
Yeah, I was one of the teams. Get fucked.
I know, that was the best part.
But then looking at Detroit, their biggest question mark going into the season, right after draft, was tank. Right, you had this really good DPS. Probably, I would say Detroit's DPS lineup is better.
The best, yeah.
I
think Lemon Vanguard. I just rate both those players highly in their skills, in how they communicate with the team. I love my DPS line, but I do gotta say that Detroit's lineup is nasty.
Yeah, looking on paper at DPS lineups, I would say Buffalo might rival. Not biased, by the way. Regardless, moving on. But then they have a really solid support line. But then Epic Shock, I watched in trials. They weren't too bad, but it wasn't the end all be all. On tank. But then when they were able to pick up Darkstar, that was a move of the season for Detroit. And it really shows that they 3-1 Van to get to grand finals. And they are a really good squad. However, I think Havana is greater than the sum of their parts. Their chemistry is so good. I think that is what's going to put them over the top. I'm going to be cringe and go with the same result, and I think Havana will also win 3-2. I do not think this will go to 7. I think this, if it's not a 3-2, it will be a 4-0 or 4-1 Havana. I think they are too good. They are too strong across the board, and their cohesiveness is much better than Detroit's.
I will say, when you look at Detroit's roster, obviously I've been doing a lot of hype up work for my own team. Detroit, JD put a roster together that rivals one of the best that we've ever seen in Ruby. The backline, I think, is something we haven't really talked about. Emerald City and Ninja, the Lucio Kiri that they've been running has been insane all season. Really able to help your team just fundamentally rock positioning, right? You're able to speed people around. Ninja has been amazing on the Kiri. But I think if you look at this roster, the ability to swap in play styles. You mentioned Epic Shock on the ball and the pickup of Darkstar. They have that ability to swap in and out. You know, have a little bit of an issue where if you see Epic coming in, you can try to target ban the ball. But yeah, I think something that we haven't really talked about is Emerald and Lemon won last season together on that Louisville roster. So they already have some chemistry there. You know that Vanguard's played with Lemon here and there, but altogether, this roster has just looked so scary. I would be surprised if none of them got All-Stars. But let's go ahead and start talking about our All-Stars, because we've got a lot of great names, not only on these two rosters, but there have been some insane pickups throughout Ruby in general. You had mentioned Buffalo is one of the teams that had a couple of picks where you could see just the value they create. I also want to give a big shout out to Vancouver, who was another God Squad pickup. Pitt and Louisville had some great players as well. But let's see who gets to make All-Stars. We're going to start off with Team 1 Tank. Will we be surprised? Who is it going to be? It's our GOAT, Minky.
I love Minky. He is just one of the most genuine, fun humans to be around. He's terrible at bowling. That's something
crazy
to note. I don't know if that will matter in Overwatch, but something to note. But yeah, you know, I love Minky. He is genuinely one of the best humans in the league. So him getting Team 1 Tank, no shock, and really happy to see him here.
This is going to be Minky's third grand finals appearance. You know, lost to season 2 Pitt. Shout out us, the GOATs. Then we stole him to Pitt. Yep, you were there, Shirley. Then we stole him to Pitt. We won season 3 with him. And yep, you were still there. Then he gets to come back after a 3 or 4 season hiatus and just win out in Ruby. What a tank player. What a great pickup. But we've got to talk about the DPS that will be joining him on that Ruby All-Star list. And, I mean, both these players are just lights out. They are just tremendous players. Let's take a look at who is your Team 1 DPS 1. Who is going to be the All-Star? It is going to be Lemon. The Hanzo is something I did not expect. I'll be honest.
Right, what? Right.
Something I didn't really suspect.
No. I was expecting Tracer for sure. I was
expecting Cassidy.
That's true. But like, they are so good. They're a console player that I will note. For this point, they are so good at console that they are permanently accused of hacking and cheating. He is insane at the game. It is genuinely crazy to see a console player be this good at the game. No shocker. We've peek behind the curtain. We've done plenty of research into him. You know, when it comes to hacking and cheating and
hacking.
And all that, and nothing. He's just good. He's better than most players. Sorry. Like, he's so good.
I mean, we saw season 7 when he joined late in the season. He got picked up to Dallas, and you could see right then and there the potential that guy had. And since then, won last season, finals this season. Dude is absolutely lights out. But there's another DPS player that we got to talk about. Let's see who is going to be joining him in Team 1 for this Ruby All-Stars. It's going to be none other than Vanguard, the top 500. Look at the accomplishments of this man. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 roll stars. All those tank, by the way.
7.
God damn it. He said he was going to get it in there.
I did. But, like, his DPS is alright. I mean, like, whatever. But, like, as long as the Patriots win this weekend, I don't think he cares about the championship, honestly. So, whatever. He can have a first team, whatever. Don't care. Didn't ask.
But we both know Vanguard. You GM'd our roster when we played with him in Pitt season 4. Great guy. Just I will always just remember Biggest Bird as the best hype up song ever. But Vanguard, just an all around great player to play with. Great vibes. Biggest Bird is the best shout out in the human history.
Biggest Bird is getting shout out in 2026.
It was before every match. Biggest Bird was on blast, and that man was playing blackjack in the pit server, and it was just so funny.
Bro, and then the one time we lost, he didn't play,
He
so
did.
he was tapped in. He was tapped in for the rest of the season. Oh
My
so
god!
stupid.
What a great guy! Absolutely deserved. He's been just an insane player all season. Let's talk about some support gameplay though, because there's a couple of names that I think a lot of people are going to recognize. One player in particular, people are going to maybe just look at and not really think of them as a support player. Let's take a look at who is your all-star support team one. Why is it Lifeweaver? When did that happen? I texted you Wu Yang.
Why is it not Lifeweaver?
Because he doesn't play that character.
But it's
my god.
Adbon. Like, obviously, he's going to put someone he doesn't play.
Yeah,
It's Adbon. I mean, like, Adbon's one on tank, he's one on DPS, so, like,
He's got to get it for the support.
If Havana wins, I will be glad for him that he finally gets his trifecta of all roles, and then he can do whatever the next stupid challenges he does. He won with they won with Widow, right?
Only.
We played Widow?
Widow only season 7 where they
They banned
destroyed.
it. They banned it.
Yeah.
They banned it. What are we doing, Vanguard?
Oh, Adbon, just another player that I think you can feel the presence in the lobby. You know Adbon is there with the team, commanding everybody's position, understanding such fundamental pinpoints of how fights should be won. And this season on support, again, I think a lot of people are going to scratch their heads going, wait, this guy's playing support this season. His Wu Yang and Brig in particular have been genuinely some of the best I've seen. So big shout out to him. Also terrible at bowling, as we've come to learn.
Yes. But his fundamental understanding of the game, I would say, and be pretty confident in this, it is the best in the league. And his flexibility to play any role just shows that he is very, very solid when it comes to just knowledge of the game and how it should be played.
Another flexible player is going to be your second support for Team 1, a player that's been around for a while and honestly is flexible, has played multiple roles in scrims, in league matches, but there's one role it is going to be support that we know him for, and there's one specific character that I think he might be one of, if not the best at.
I wonder.
Let's take a look at Liam, who again has Wu Yang on here and not the Zen. What are we doing? But a previous MVP and champion, multiple time role star on the pit roster this season, just doing absolute God's work. And especially when Zen got the buffs a couple weeks ago, that Discord change going up, you saw them run it and you saw them just go to town.
Liam, one of the best humans in the league. Love that guy. He is always positive, very fun to be around. He will VOD anyone if you ask him. Don't bombard him because he is a human.
Please.
And he has a finite amount of time. But he coached me in season 5. When we played together, and he was able to break it down even for me. Just really, really good fundamental understanding of the game. And I think him winning MVP in season 6 really justifies how good of a player he is, because he won MVP as a support player. Like, that's
very
crazy.
rare.
Like, that is genuinely crazy. He is so good. No shocker he's here.
And if you go back to the history, Liam's been here since like season 2 almost. Maybe season 3.
He was on the Philly squad.
Yeah, for season 3. I don't know about season 2. But when we go back, the issue with Liam was he was such a high support. We weren't in the draft. We had salaries, so it was very hard to justify spending a lot of that cap for a support. So Liam didn't really get to see a lot of playtime. And now that we've swapped over, Liam's been, round 1, round 2 pick every time. And you can see why.
And it's justified.
Very good player.
It's justified. He is so good. Happy to see him play his own role for once in his life.
But
just for that, I'm happy for him.
I'm always happy for Liam. Liam's the GOAT. But let's talk about some Team 2 for Ruby, because we've got a tank player that really, I think, deserves this spot. Stepped up in a big way, able to help that team just roll people. And again, you can really see the difference that a player makes when they gel with a roster. Let's go ahead and take a look. Who is Team 2 Tank All-Star for Ruby Season 9? It is going to be Darkstar.
Yeah, just a really solid player. What I found most intriguing by his gameplay when we played him was he wasn't going for flashy stuff. He was very much enabling his DPS to just pop off, do exactly what he needed to do. Don't do too much, don't do too little. Just doing what needs to be done to get the dub. Really solid player. I'm pissed that JD sniped him from me on waiver wire because we might have been back with that pick, but I digress.
Yeah, ever since Darkstar joined Detroit, I believe, were like 1 and 2 when they picked him up. And as soon as they picked him up, they had Epic run out for the 2 maps and Darkstar run out for 3 because it was a map 5 against Pitt, which could have very well been, a grand finals preview. But you could see that man's effort and just a great tank player going to be round 1 picks in these upcoming seasons. But another round 1 pick that I think we're going to see here is going to be our Team 2 DPS, a player that you know very well, so I'm excited to hear your feedback. Let's see who is our Team 2 DPS 1 for All-Star. Let's see Swirl, the champ DPS.
He might be the best player in the league, but I'll be honest, didn't build the best roster around him. But I don't think I've ever seen a player when they play Soj and when they have ult, it's a guaranteed 2 kills every single time. It's genuinely crazy. His aiming ability is crazy. His Widow is so good. I think he's probably more deserving than some of the Team 1 All-Stars, but that's just me maybe being not the most unbiased person, but genuinely one of the best DPS players I've ever seen in UR ever.
It's very common for a lot of these players to get props. This community is so amazing. I want to give a big shout out to all the players in the league. They continue to come back and they continue to support each other, even on different teams, different divisions, different leagues. But a rookie coming in, after every game, I swear I went to General and just saw so much love for this man's insane capabilities. For anybody who didn't watch, go back and watch Buffalo's series that were streamed because Swirl was lights out on these hit scans. Absolutely deserved. But let's go ahead. Let's talk about our Team 2 DPS 2, who's a name that, we go from a rookie to a name that I think a lot of people are going to know from previous seasons, from this season. A player that might have been sniped from a couple of teams. I'm just going to be honest. Let's go ahead and see who is our DPS 2 for Team 2 in Ruby. It is Foliage. Why is it Reaper? Cool doesn't listen to me at all, apparently. This is insane. Apparently he asked for Reaper. I always thought it was going to be the Rock Puncher or Vendetta, but apparently not. Look at all the role stars, by the way. Look at how much, just capability this man has. Great player, great game sense, a fun player to just be in the call with as well. He's so fun to be around, just a great player. I can't say enough about him.
Yeah, just one of the most fundamentally sound DPSs in the league. Has pop-off potential, but a lot of times in team fights, just gets the job done. Nothing super flashy, just aims, clicks some heads, and gets some kills. But shout out him. He taught me how to play Venture, so always love Foliage.
Speaking of Venture, one of my favorite things this season so far was Havana was playing on Midtown. And before the round started, they were talking about, what the game plan was. And Minky was like, oh, Foliage, just play Venture. It'll work. Trust. And every single person in the call was like, are you stupid? What the hell? And so eventually it got to a point where everyone was like, you know what? Why not? Let's do it. And Foliage at the end of it was like, oh, I kind of just destroyed their whole team. Good call. That's what happens when you put faith into players doing what they can do. I want to try to find a quote real quick. There's a quote from Adbon. Let people play heroes they're good at and good they will play. Very much sums up what that sentiment is.
Yes. Such a great Venture player. Vanguard, not that. Foliage is that.
Well, let's talk about some other great players. We've got 2 more supports to name before the MVP, and this is going to be a support that I know a lot of people are going to look at and say, if you're on a roster with him, he will step up, he will be a leader. We know him from a couple of heroes. BAP is one that I don't think people talk about a lot for, but it's going to be another Zen player that I think nobody's going to be surprised at. Let's go ahead and see who is your Team 2 Support 1 Ruby All-Star. It is going to be Shogun.
Just one of the best support players in the league. No shocker he's here. Just every time I watch him play BAP, it's just like generational gameplay every time. Like he's clicking heads, he's healing everyone. Like he does it all for the team, and it's great player, well deserved. Yeah, that's all I got.
I remember him getting on the Buffalo roster in Season 6 when it looked like that team was going to win it all. And everybody was complaining because he was on Zen, just floating around. You can't hear his footsteps. He's hiding around corners. All of a sudden, there's a volley. 5 orbs to the back of your skull. You're dead. Buffalo's already up a fight. There is a reason this man is so just revered as one of the best supports. And it's great to see another role star added to his list. But a player that is a rookie this season that I think got a lot of praise as well is going to be on this list. Let's take a look at our final Ruby All-Star, our support Team 2 Support 2. Let's go ahead and see who is going to be joining that All-Star roster. It is going to be Dusky from the Pittsburgh Phantoms.
Yeah, just crazy good Lucio. When we played against them, like that was something we had to worry about. And really, really solid player. No shocker they're here. Shout out Dusky.
Yeah, Dusky joining the league. Another player that a lot of the existing Ruby players knew and wanted to try to pick up and team with. And you could see the value that they were getting on Pit. Great Lucio player, confident Lucio player. Made themselves a couple of edits as well. I remember getting some boot kills. Yeah. Every map going for at least like 3 environmentals and pretty much got the job done every time.
Yeah, just really good Lucio player. That's all it comes down to. You know, super solid, one of the best in the league. You know, Cactus could rival them on the Lucio, but Dusky was the only one that was at or above Buffalo, Cactus, Lucio.
Well, that is going to be your role stars for Ruby. Team 1, Tank Minky, DPS Lemon and Vanguard, Support Adbon and Liam. Your Team 2 Ruby role stars are going to be Darkstar, Tank, Swirl, and Foliage on the DPS, and Shogun and Dusky for that support. Let's now talk about MVP. There are a lot of great names on these lists. There's a lot of great players. I think that in my mind, there might have been 1 or 2 players that I would have called for, but seeing this name, I don't think anybody's going to really be surprised. This player was lights out since the season started, and I think it's just insanely well-deserved. Let's go ahead. Who is your Season 9 Ruby MVP? It is going to be Lemon. Why is it Lucio? Was this there the first time and we just missed it? No, it wasn't. Oh, now it's Mercy. Oh my god. Cool.
It's a misinput. It's a misinput. But yeah, you know, Lemon, very well deserved MVP. You know, like I said, they're so good on console that everyone thought they were cheating. That's how good they are. In fact, they're just better. That's all it comes down to. GG.
Not a lot of times you can say, yeah, you think I'm hacking? Check it. Get the camera. Get the footage. Here's all the evidence. What you got now?
We had hand cams going. That's how involved we were. And yeah, no, he's just nice at the game. Sorry, you suck more than him.
But that will be it for us here. We have said all of our All-Stars. We've talked about the finals. We've got a couple finals coming up. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, will be your Ruby Grand Finals between the number 1 seed of Havana and the number 2 seed team of Detroit. Then on Sunday at 8, if you're not watching the Super Bowl, you will be watching the Emerald Finals, where number 3 seed Phoenix is going to be taking on number 4 seed Washington. Then sometime in the next 2 weeks, we will be seeing the Sapphire Finals, where number 1 seed Louisville will be facing off against the number 2 seed in Pittsburgh. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. I hope that we get 7 maps for all the series. I would like if the Ruby Havana got a 4-0 sweep, just so my heart pressure can stay low and JD's heart pressure can rise. That's just personal preference.
I mean, if they go to 7, it's just a reason to drink, right?
It could be. It very much could be. I don't hate it at all. But please make sure you come out and show your support for those 2 scheduled matches and be on the lookout for the next 2 weeks in which we will have the Sapphire playoffs, as well as hopefully some all-star games between these 3 leagues. Stan, our awesome LO executive, will be spearheading that front. Thank you everybody for coming out. If you missed it, please go back and rewatch it. We have some awesome players deserving of some all-stars and some MVPs. But that'll be it. I have been your community manager host, Ajax/Soupcan. Join with me is the data specialist executive. I forget your stupid title. Doesn't
Zero
matter.
damage
We got the GOAT, Bowser.
0 damage Sombra. That's all you need to know.
0 damage, Sombra. Absolute moron. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Have a great rest of your night.
It's all over. All over. It's all over. All over. It's all